Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the learned edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome, all you weirdos, Marvel zombies in the service of Lady Death, and current residents of the Vault. Both vaults. It is time to receive your 168th Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your baseball-grieving host, Jason, broadcasting as always from the Wrong Turn studio, perched high atop stately Weird Science Tower. And speaking to us today is a man who would not vote abstain if the heir of Apocalypse asked to join the Get Fresh crew. I said, the Get Fresh crew. Beep boop, there we go. It's my pal Ruben. Hey Ruben, how the heck are you?
I don't understand about this grieving thing. I'm looking at the Mariners sitting in first place.
Oh,
what are we upset about?
the freaking Mets knocked out of the playoffs on the last day of the season for the third time in the last 20 years, all by brutal. The same opposing team.
That's brutal.
It's rough. Very rough. So, yeah.
Just remember, my team is the only MLB team that has never won a World Series. So there's that. Although I don't know if the Mets have won in your lifetime. So maybe,
1986.
Okay.
I was the perfect age. I was 11 years old, and my baseball team won the World Series. That is the perfect age. So I got that, but been a long, however many years. I've not wanted to do the math since then.
Yeah, I'm very much of the mindset of like, I don't care about baseball because my team is like just complete trash. But the moment they look like they're going to win, I'll be, the greatest fair weather fan, just like everyone else in the city.
I haven't picked a team to root for in the playoffs yet. I'm definitely rooting against the Yankees, obviously. But eventually, I'll kind of calm down from the horrors of the past few weeks and pick somebody to root for. It would have been the Indians if they were still the Indians, because I'm used to calling them the Indians, but they're not called that anymore, so they don't feel like the same team. But that's a whole different podcast.
Have you heard about the Etsy Witch thing with the Mariners?
Vaguely, because there was also a much darker Etsy Witch story that kind of crossed over.
Okay,
so
tell me the dark story, because the dumb.
It's inappropriate for the podcast. Okay. I will tell you later. But
offline. Okay,
offline. So let's talk about nicer things, such as some X-Men comics. How about that?
Is that what this podcast is?
That's what it says on my notes here. So I think that's what we'll get into. We'll start off with, yes, we do indeed have an Infinity comic to talk about. Jim's favorite. This is Astonishing X-Men Infinity comic number 38, Change of Heart, Part 7.
Did you know this is going to 7 parts? Because I opened it this morning and I was like, what? We're still part of that arc, and especially after like they just kind of walked off and went back to their base. I was like, okay, well
I think we mentioned it last week when we talked about the Infinity comic, because it didn't say that part was over. It said continued next time. So I was expecting it to be another part of the same story, but it is weird because we have not had a part 7, which makes me wonder if we're kind of playing out the string to an end point. But we'll talk about that at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
It is written by Tim Seeley, art by Eduardo Ordino, colors by K.J. Diaz, and letters by Clayton Coles. So in the prior chapter, our Ireland-based X-Men foiled an attempt by Changeling, or Morph. We'd been calling him Morphling. Morphling was trying to start a nuclear war. We're not going to get into how. It was incredibly convoluted. They left the defeated Morphling behind in the custody of the U.S. military, and it looks like the military guys managed to not let him escape because Morphling is now incarcerated in the Vault. That's the Vault. That's in Colorado, the prison for superpowered villains, not the other Vault, as in the children of the Vault. Different Vault. We have jumped forward in time a bit. How long do you think Morphling's been incarcerated at the beginning of this chapter?
1 week.
Yeah, something like that. It's not his first day in prison. He hasn't been there months, maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks, somewhere in there. His prisoner number, which was shown quite prominently, is 112381. Is that supposed to mean something?
Yeah, I didn't think that hard about that.
I Googled on it a little bit. It seems like a date, right? 11/23/81. That's not Changeling's first appearance. That was in the 60s. Morph's first appearance was in the 90s. I wasn't able to come up with any hit for this. Maybe I'm off on the wrong direction. Maybe it's not a date. Maybe it's the artist's own birthday or his kids. I don't know. Something like maybe it's a date that's specific to the people who made it. But if anyone knows what 112381 is supposed to mean here, do let us know. So back to the story. Prisoner Morphling is not wearing a power damping collar or anything like that, but the rules are that he's restricted to 3 forms: Kevin Sidney, normal human; Morph, happy-go-lucky X-Man; or Changeling, the bad guy from the 60s with the crazy headgear. According to a guard, this is for therapeutic reasons, and any other forms he goes into, and it'll be like in Arrested Development, no touching, and they come in with the zappy zap sticks. So he can be any of those 3 forms, nobody else. So Banshee comes in to visit Morphling, and Morphling is happy to see him, says, sorry, I can't do the cartoon dog form for you. Detective Banshee has figured out what's really going on and who is really in charge here. Turns out that the big bad is Cassandra Nova.
She's I was surprised by that.
I was, but I remembered I shouldn't have been. Exactly.
Yes.
Which is kind of the best kind of surprise. You got me, Tim Seeley. You played it right. So she's been manipulating Morphling mentally, making him do all this bad stuff. And yeah, we should not have been surprised, because at the end of the Black Tom arc, and we've been hinting, Tim Seeley's been saying Black Tom, remind us of Black Tom throughout this whole story. So we should have thought back to that. I went back and read it today. At the end of that arc, in chapter 11 of this Infinity comic, yeah, we were shown that Cassandra Nova was the voice in Black Tom's head telling him to set things on fire. Nobody here likes you. You have to do these bad things. And back then, we were also told she had a plan to look for and to influence other mutants who might go astray, ones with no support system. Yeah. So Morphling, just one more of those victims.
Yeah, I thought it was well done. And it was a big surprise for me. Again, like you said, shouldn't have been, but I was not expecting that outcome. And I liked it.
I don't think in this arc we've mentioned her name once, which we really should have.
And I'm surprised that we see more Cassandra Nova in this Infinity comic than we do in the X-Men story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in part it fooled me because I thought that 3K was such a big central story that surely she couldn't be in this silly little Infinity comic doing things either.
Well, in chapter 11, she mentioned that what she was doing with Black Tom was part of the 3K plan. It wasn't just her going solo.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, her plan here was to cause a nuclear war that was somehow going to be better for mutants and bad for humans. Do you think that causing a nuclear war fits in with 3K's bigger plan of releasing that gene virus to make people into mutants? I can kind of make it work, I think.
Yeah.
So it does hang together. They don't contradict each other, which is nice to have, the same villain in the Infinity comic and in X-Men, and have them be distinct stories, but also you can say, yeah, they kind of work together. I think that's well managed. It was, whether it's on purpose or by accident, it works. I also think, the mutant here in the vault really is both Morph, and Changeling, right? He's both characters.
Yeah. Has he always been that?
I don't know. I thought he wasn't, but today I go to look up things in the wikis and it says, oh yeah, he's the same guy. So I don't know if it was changed or I missed something, because I thought it was supposed to be a mystery, but apparently it's just a known thing that Kevin Sidney,
personalities,
Morph, and Changeling, or at least it's been retconned prior to this.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe that was my miss. So there's also a bit in here about how Banshee thinks that Nova was specifically targeting him, Banshee, kind of as a proxy, since she can't get at her brother Charles. Banshee's also a teacher and a leader of an X-Men group. I wasn't quite so sure that hung together so well. If Cassandra's going to go after someone, maybe Scott would be a logical target.
Yeah.
Banshee, okay, it's not the worst thing ever, but it didn't make me go, oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. It's fine. So Banshee says that with the confirmation that it was Cassandra Nova influencing people, he thinks he can get Black Tom released from prison into Banshee's own custody, which I really hope, do they give Tom like a Magneto-style helmet or something to keep Cassandra out of his head? Or is it that if he knows he's being influenced by Cassandra, then he can prevent it from happening? I'm not sure. I'd like a little bit something there to say, okay, we're going to let him out, and we have a way of making him not go back to be crazy Firebug.
Yeah, I definitely think that her psychic powers are strong enough that you couldn't just tell people, oh, there's a voice whispering bad things in your head, and be aware of that as Cassandra, not just your conscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's enough, right? I feel like she could force you to do things pretty easily.
Yeah, which we haven't seen Black Tom out of prison yet. Maybe there is something. Maybe he gets extra, was it Red Triangle Protocol? Is that like, am I saying the name right?
Yeah, that's the teaching.
Yeah, that teach him like really, really well. He gets, bonus classes in that.
Just imagine resist in the form of a triangle.
Right. And I'm sure it does help to know that, if I recognize the feeling of this particular little voice, I know that one's not real. Yeah. I'm sure probably people who have psychological conditions, part of what they do has to be learning to distinguish reality from not reality. So it's probably similar to that.
Yeah, fortunately don't have experience with that, so I can't tell you.
I'm purely making that up, so sorry if I got that wrong, anybody. The story here closes with a little speech from Banshee about how he'll be a helping hand in the darkness for all those lost, lonely post-Krakoan mutants who might otherwise fall back into criminal ways. And then Nova's mind leaves Morph's body. Now, speaking of therapy, Morph's going to need some pretty serious therapy, I'm going to think. Again, not my expertise, but he's had a rough time.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Nova's plan here? I think it was a reasonable, evil plan as far as evil plans go.
It definitely increased my opinion of this little arc. I still think it was too long, and the life model decoy side story still makes no sense to me. But
yeah, the way that he got access to the nukes, that was kind of silly.
Yeah.
It makes sense thematically, and that it was all about different faces and external versus internal identities. So I can see thematically what Tim Seeley was going for, but yeah, as a plot point, it knocked me out of the story and made me go, yeah, the nukes would be harder to get to than just it looks like a particular SHIELD agent.
Yes.
But yeah,
but I like Nova. I liked the scheme. I liked this setting up like an ongoing conflict, and I also like that this gives Seeley a chance to add a few more people to this team, which I think needs one or two more characters to really feel like an X-Men team. It's felt a little bare bones.
Well, let's talk about what the future of this might be, because I think I said last time, I did tweet to Tim Seeley and Alex Packendale, and I got back, let me check my little Twitter messages here, because I did get a message back that wasn't the most helpful error. Scroll, yada, yada, yada. So all I got back from Tim Seeley was announcement forthcoming, I believe, ! Alex and I are working on it. Which isn't quite nothing, because if Alex Packendale and Tim Seeley are, quote, working on it, that means they're working on something, that it's not just ending. Yeah. But I was asking, is it going to be taking place in the Age of Apocalypse? Is it going to be taking a break?
Yeah.
What's going on? And he didn't give me any of that, which, expected, but.
Which is fair. Yeah. I don't think.
Can't blame me for asking. I was polite. At the end of this comic, I was kind of thinking the story was wrapping up, especially since we're cycling back to Black Tom. We have this speech about what Banshee is going to be. We didn't really get to see Husk and company, so we really can't have the group hug at the end without those characters showing up.
Yeah.
But at the end of this, we get a next, which the name of the next story is That Ye Not Be Judged. And on our next time single panel, we see Banshee being confronted by a hashtag shadowy figure. So this is next week when we are full on into Age of Revelation. It doesn't look, who can tell from one panel, but nothing in that one panel we see screams out, we are in the Age of Revelation.
Yeah, I wonder if this will just stay in the regular continuity.
Yeah, maybe. And is it going to just keep on trucking? I'm kind of curious. Are we supposed to know who that hashtag shadowy figure is? Because he's got something weird going on in his head, neck, collar. All we see is a silhouette. Are we supposed to recognize that guy? Because I do not.
I definitely didn't either. I want to go back to. Do you think Black Tom is going to be on the X-Men now, or this astonishing team? Because he was released into his custody, right? His brother's custody.
It didn't quite happen on panel, but it was spoken of. Banshee says that, now that we've confirmed that it was you, Cassandra, who's responsible for Black Tom going off and doing that bad stuff, Banshee's going to get Captain America to vouch for Black Tom so that Black Tom can be released into Banshee's custody, which hasn't happened yet, but it's being spoken of like it's a done deal. And I think that'd be nice. It'd be good to see him on this little Irish X-Men team, especially since he is Irish, and that'd be kind of fun to see him in that element.
Yeah, the Irish X-Men, I love it.
X-Men Green. We haven't had that team yet. We had the blue, the gold. Now we get the green.
Yes.
Tim Seeley, I know you're listening. You can have that one for free. Take it. So yeah, I guess we want to give this in full Infinity 7-part Infinity comic arc a grade. Which
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just going to give it a 6, and it's all saved by this last issue. I probably would have been more like 5, not an FE 5, but 5 otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it sets up some interesting stuff going forward.
It does. I think it definitely had at least one too many chapters. I think it could have been told a little more succinctly, but I'm sure that with everything going on with Age of Revelation, the writers were given here's when you want this, when we need this arc to finish up. So whether they knew from the beginning or whether they were told, hey, actually bump it out one more chapter, who knows? But yeah, it could have been told a little more succinctly. I think I'm going to go 6.3. I probably would have been at a 6 before this one, and this one does save it a little bit. I really enjoy just having a chapter of this to read every week. I think it's a great format. I want Marvel to keep doing it. I like that it's something special for the subscribers of the Marvel Unlimited. I like Marvel experimenting with this new, more modern, not tied to paper kind of format. So I hope they keep it up. Okay, that is the end of our Infinity comic talk. It is time to go on to an old-fashioned paper comic, which is X-Men number 22, Dawning of an Age. This is written by Jed MacKay, art by C.F. Villa, colors by Fer Cifuentes Sujo, and letters by Clayton Coles. And yet, Ruben, I think this comic, at least for me, was a little bit of a victim of expectations. We were told, there's going to be this truly shocking conclusion. It's the big dawn of the Age of Revelation. And it was mostly a lot of character work scenes.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't anything that shocked me.
The ending, it had an interesting ending. If I didn't know we were going to the Age of Revelation, I would have found the ending a whole lot more shocking. And I have some theories about it when we get to it. But before we get to that putatively shocking conclusion, there's like a half dozen short character interaction scenes checking in on basically all the members of our Alaskan X-Men team. And let's just take those in order.
This is hashtag shocking ending.
Something like that. So the first scene we get to here is Cyclops and the sheriff there in that town jail cell in Merle, Alaska. So Cyclops is still in jail. How long do you think he's been in there, Ruben?
I think it's just overnight. I think this is like just picking up pretty fast after the end of that last episode.
You think he spent a full day and overnight in jail?
So you're saying more than 24 hours? I'm thinking this is
I'm
more
wondering
like...
if it's less, because he was arrested in the morning, it seemed. Like during breakfast was when they had their brawl. That was breakfast rush there at the diner.
Yes. I think he just stayed overnight and then they let him go, and this is like 8 a.m. the next day.
Very possible. I think it's probably just comic book time. Maybe we're not supposed to think too hard about how long he's been in there. Because it does make me wonder, would Magic and Company really let him stay a full 24 hours without going and checking on him?
Yeah.
Well, I know they've been busy. They've had stuff to do.
They're like, this proves a point to the city that everyone is on the same terms. If it's a super fast in and out, like, are you really proving a message? I guess that's another question.
I did like that conversation between Scott and the sheriff, and the sheriff looks like she's dropped a few pounds in the past few issues, so good for her. I should take that as a good example, frankly. Different artists draw differently. It's fine. I did like the conversation that Scott acknowledges that, yes, Sheriff, I bet this was, partially for show. You got to let the town see that, 2 superpowered lunkheads or 1 superpowered lunkhead and a government lunkhead are going to be treated like regular old lunkheads when they start a brawl in the freaking diner. So Cyclops recognizes that. I don't know that Magic would have recognized that idea, so I can see Scott going along with it. So Scott's being released on his own recognizance, and now Magic portals in, starts to put on a big show, big flames, big sword, big cleavage, whole 9 yards. And Cyclops tells Magic, calm down, everything's fine. And he also starts to figure out, hey, Magic, you're probably putting on a big show now to cover up something that happened while I was in jail that I wouldn't be too happy about. So again, I think these characters are all acting very well within their established characterizations and in a way that draws me into the story. So again, not super exciting, not thrilling, not shocking, but an okay character scene. You're probably on the same page, I believe?
Yep. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Okay. Next scene, we're also at a jail cell of sorts, but in here, we're in the X-Men's factory headquarters, and the prisoner will not be dealt with quite as politely as what we just saw, and will certainly not be released on his own or anyone else's recognizance. This prisoner is Trevor Fitzroy, head of the Upstarts and multiple-time murderer. He's got a collar on and these giant metal shackle gauntlet things covering both hands almost up to his elbows. They say later on that Quentin is suppressing his portal-making ability.
Yeah.
Maybe the collar and gauntlets are just for show. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzroy talks a lot of BS here about how these X-Men are cowards, hiding away, turned against their own kind. None of that really lands. I mean, you're Trevor freaking Fitzroy. No one listens to you. Shut up.
Yeah.
So, Ruben, what are they going to do with this guy? Are they going to send him to the Savage Land along with everybody else? That was our speculation last time, along with Morph and every other villain.
Yeah.
Well, what are they going to do?
They're starting a prison, right?
Well, they're not starting a prison. They're giving him as payment to Christopher Aronson.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah, that was
King
surprising.
Bedlam.
Mm-hmm.
Cool callback to issue 10 of the series. That was when Aronson and his team of Hellions did a favor for Cyclops by busting into various ONE facilities around the country. And at the end of that issue, King Bedlam said that what he wanted in return was, quote, a very specific head. And I had a whole theory at the time about who that was. And my theory was completely wrong. Don't even go back and listen to it. Just totally
just trust
bogus.
you that it was wrong.
It was if it was right, I would not say it was wrong. It was definitely wrong. So what he wants is the head of Trevor Fitzroy. This grudge dates back to 1991, Uncanny X-Men number 282, which is famous for being the first appearance of Bishop. But in this context, what matters is that in that issue, Trevor Fitzroy kills several members of the Hellions, including a woman named Marie-Ange Colbert, also known as Tarot. According to the fandom wiki, this was Tarot's first death. I do love it when you go to the wiki and it lists like all these multiple deaths and resurrections by unknown means. She's one of those. She's been killed and then resurrected 3 times now. She was seen once on Krakoa in the 2022 annual. That's the only time she was seen on Krakoa, as far as I can tell. So the Fitzroy killing was the first of her deaths and was far from permanent. No one knows how she was resurrected that time. It was just kind of, she showed up again. I think her second resurrection was the whole transmode virus, but the first one was just one of those mysterious Silver Agey, she's back. But King Bedlam still holding a grudge. Okay, that's that scene. On to our third character scene. This starts off with Glob and Juggernaut in the hydroponic farming area of the base. And Juggy, who does not like to be called Juggy, at least not by Glob. I'm going to call him Juggy. Juggy's being shown to be increasingly bloodthirsty, even wants Glob to fry up one of his egg-laying chickens. So we're extending this change in Juggernaut's character, still making him seem kind of tougher and more bloodthirsty and just more violent than we've seen him for a while.
Yeah, I know we're not going to get any synergy with the Astonishing X-Men comic, but it made me think like, is he being influenced by Cassandra Nova?
Oh.
Although he's got this helmet, right? His helmet.
The gem in the helmet.
Yeah, he's still wearing the helmet. Never mind. Yeah, he can't be influenced.
So I'm curious if this is leading up to something in the Age of Revelation or something we'll be coming back to afterwards. But it's clearly we're going somewhere with this. But this is when Beast enters the scene, and Beast calls Juggy out on that bit last issue when he twisted off Ocelot's head. I mean, not that Ocelot didn't deserve it, but Beast tells Juggy that's not the X-Men way of doing things. We're not a death squad. Both these guys, Beast and Juggernaut, also have interesting relationships with Jennifer Starkey, one of the new characters. Not exactly a love triangle, but definitely kind of a rivalry. Different views of what she needs, what's good for her. Beast is protective of Jen, wants to shelter her from any risks or violence. And Juggernaut says, hey, she's been through a bunch. She needs to get out there, especially against the upstarts, who were the ones who were after her at the beginning. So yeah, I kind of like this relationship here. I'm looking forward to seeing Jen herself speak up and say, hey guys, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. So pretty good. Anything you want to add about Beast's involvement here? Okay, moving on to our fourth character interaction scene, which is where I start to think, is anything going to happen in this issue? Because it's our fourth one. Maybe a little. Jed MacKay probably trying to get a lot of this work done that he hasn't been able to get done in the more action-heavy issues, but here's where it's starting to feel like it's dragging a little bit. And did you read Gabe's written review?
No, I didn't. But yeah, I saw some of the commentary in the Slack. People seem to have that same reaction.
He's very much thinking that it's too much of this just chatty stuff, which I understand what he's getting at. I think it's good chatty stuff. I think I'm more connected with these characters in the series than Gabe is, so it didn't bother me as much, but he certainly got a point here. Scene number 4. This is Jen herself up on the factory roof with Ben Liu, and they're painting a wall or something. It's like they're in Tom Sawyer whitewashing a fence. I don't know why they're painting the factory, but it's just they need an excuse to have a conversation, the two of them, so it's fine. They do have a lot in common. Both of them were made into adult onset mutants by 3K. Jen has been much more active about joining the X-Men. Ben still insists he's not joining. He had a very different kind of experience. He was basically driven insane there for a while. And the major new information from this chat is Ben is determined to have something positive come out of this awful experience. He's not going to leave the X-Men until he's learned some control over this power. Which, yeah, I like that a lot. Again, something I think will probably only pay off after the Age of Revelation, but I like to see Ben having some agency here and, wants to gain control of his life again. So, yeah, what do you think of Ben and Jan here?
I like the conversation between them, and I like to see Ben's motivation here. Mm-hmm. And because, I kind of like this. It's sort of a nothing burger detail, but I like this concept of Jen saying, hey, I kind of take on some of the personality of the creatures that I transform into. So because she's very predatorial, she's saying like she doesn't have a particular concern about killing because predatory animals kill things.
Right. And this also reflects back on what Juggernaut was saying last scene about how Jen doesn't need to be protected as much as Beast might think she does. And that she wasn't really bothered by the whole popping off Ocelot's head situation. Kind of.
I just think this makes her a bit more of an interesting character if I take this as accurate, right, and not just tough talk for somebody trying to cover up their trauma.
Yeah, it comes across as honest, like she's trying to figure things out, and she's talking about what she's experiencing. I'm certainly buying it, and we know that she's going to be called. I think it's Animalia, like animal, but with an A at the end in the Age of Revelation. So she's definitely going to be a big part of that story, at least according to the sketches we see in some of the previews.
I did laugh at the painting scene in general. It's going to take a lot of paint to cover that giant warehouse or manufacturing facility, right? They'll be doing this for quite a long time.
They're covering this one panel with rollers. Is this like a huge project? They're going to paint the whole thing? Or
yes.
Again, it's just an excuse to have these two have a chat, which is completely fine. I wonder how much detail MacKay even put here, or just told CF via, hey, make them do something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I just think this is kind of cheap that they are going to Home Depot and buying the pink pants and doing it themselves. Like, don't the X-Men have money? They should be able to hire some halfway decent painting company to come do this.
There must be some mutant who can just do it, right?
Yeah. Or is this like the wax on, wax off moment from Karate Kid? They're developing some kind of skills.
A giant stick. I don't know.
Yes.
Are they jousting in the future? I don't know what else that would be good for.
Yeah. If we ever see her in a scene where she's like wielding a spear, I'm going to say it was
a bow staff. That's going to be a new thing.
She developed it through this exercise.
I look forward to it. I'll write that down. Okay, one more character scene. Have you had enough character scenes yet, Ruben?
No, one more? You know what? You guys could laugh about this, but I love these character scenes. I'm 100% fine with this. And we're going to go into like a balls to the wall, like alternate reality with people dying abruptly. And that's my prediction, right? Like, I think the Age of Revelation is going to be like 110 degrees or 110 miles an hour. And so a slowdown issue before that, it's fine.
Okay. I think I'm in between you and Mr. Gabe. So, I understand both points of view here. But
Mhm.
let's go to this one last character scene. We do get some actual plot development start to happen. In this scene, Magneto and Quentin are playing chess. Quentin tries to brag that he's great at playing chess because he's going to say he's great at anything he's doing. Turns out he's not so great when his opponent wears a helmet that blocks mind reading. Pretty funny.
Yes.
And this is when Cyclops and Magic portal in and basically have a little end of a conversation that confirms to us, the readers, that Cyclops now knows everything that happened last issue with the upstarts and Fitzroy in a jail cell, and that Quentin was wounded, we find out, and that his wound was healed up courtesy of Zorn. Okay. Ruben, are you ready to move on from character scenes and into actual plot developments? You need to refill your coffee first? Anything like that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Here's the actual plot starting on like page, 15,
can I
14,
make
15.
one quick comment?
Sure.
I did like when Scott was talking down to Cyclops, or not Cyclops, but Psylocke, because she should have known better than, go out and try to kill some upstarts. They've been on a team for a damn long time, and she's definitely the one that I would have assumed was the responsible one.
I thought it was interesting that Magic points out that, hey, I made the call myself based on, me being a former great captain of Krakoa.
Yes. And I thought that was a good
direct reference to Krakoa. We don't see a whole lot of those.
Yeah. But it was a good call out, right? Like she was given a lot of authority to provide instructions in war to like the various mutants.
Do a mission when a more violent action mission is called for. And yeah, and it doesn't mention, because they don't know that all this happened because Sugar Man took off the shielding on the upstarts.
Mm-hmm.
That they were kind of manipulated by Sugar Man. They don't even know he exists right now, as far as I can tell.
Yep.
So that's kind of fun to think about in the background too.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the plot. We have Doug shows up. Doug Ramsey, the heir of Apocalypse, also known as, what does he call himself now?
Revelation.
Of course, Revelation. The whole
next event is
based on a little more
name.
tea here. Let me have a little. Okay.
Yeah, he shows up.
That's about okay. Now I'm awake.
And Bay shows up, and Warlock shows up.
Yep. Doug, his wife, and his self friend.
Can I put you on the spot? And you might not know the answer to this, but do you remember what happened with Warlock? I remember he got like kind of erased by Nimrod, but he was like captured.
Oh,
and I don't even remember how he got back. I'm just kind of like, I
don't
remember he
either.
did at some
point.
he
just kind of showed back up. I don't know that was so well explained.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll never get mentioned again, but it was kind of weird. And I know he always hangs out with Doug, and he's sort of the translator for Bay and
right between
Doug.
between the two married couple who can't actually talk to each other.
Yep.
So they've been traveling up towards Alaska ever since issue 19, which is when their house was raided by the Zero units, who are the secret group within One.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this arrival here before in the Age of Revelation 0 issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ruben, we know exactly how this is going to play out. Doug and crew are going to ask to join the X-Men. There's going to be some skepticism, but he's going to be allowed to join. He and Cyclops are going to shake hands, yada, yada, Age of Revelation.
Yeah.
And that's almost what happens here.
Yeah, there's an interesting part with the vote. Are you going to go into that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
First, I want to mention that Doug kind of comes off as more than just self-confident to the point of being almost like an 80s movie villain. Kind of smarmy, kind of arrogant.
Yeah.
Artist C.F. Villa gives him a bit of punchable face syndrome, right? That expression there on it's page 18 in my copy where he's like, yeah, hey guys, how you doing? He doesn't look like someone you should trust.
No. You know who he reminds me of? I'm going to give you a Naruto comparison. I don't know if this will resonate with you, but you're an anime guy, so maybe. I was like, this is Sakura. And you don't trust Sakura. He's an asshole. He's the guy that like is initially with Naruto and Sasuke. Or no, Sasuke. Is that the name? Sasuke? I'm getting it wrong. Okay, never mind. This is bad.
I don't know a whole lot. I Google Sakura and Naruto, and I get this kind of goody two-shoes looking character with pink hair.
No, that's not right. Sasuke. It must be Sasuke. Meh, whatever.
Okay, Jim will edit all this out.
I did it wrong.
No one else ever hear this. Don't worry. Sasuke.
Sasuke. However you say that.
Oh, okay, yeah. He looks like you shouldn't trust him. He looks almost like a dark version of Naruto himself.
He starts out as like part of the Leaf clan, and everyone loves him. He's part of like the trio with Naruto, and then he like abandons the team and like joins Orochimaru, who's like the main antagonist enemy.
Okay, maybe we should do a whole X-Men to Naruto character pairing sometime. We'll put that on the list of things to do.
I'm taking away your anime card, by the way. You're not like super into Naruto.
I'm not a big shonen guy.
Okay.
I'm not a big super long running anime guy. I like to watch my favorite anime is episode 1. I watch episode 1 of everything every season. That's what I'm into. Give me the new unexpected stuff. That's why I got to watch, well, on an anime tangent, that Turkey. It's called Turkey Time to Strike, which is an anime about a girls' high school bowling team. Okay, I'll watch episode 1.
Okay, yeah.
And at 90% of the episode is your very super standard, oh, we need enough members to be on the team. Mm-hmm. Oh, this one person is really good, but she doesn't have the confidence. You know, that same exact plot. And the last 5 seconds, someone throws a strike and there's lightning that strikes and the ceiling opens up and they're isekai'd into ancient Japan. Like, what the hell? And none of that was in the promo material.
Right,
so,
right.
And it's an original series, not based on a manga.
Yeah.
So no one knew it was coming. And it was like, well, now I'm interested. Yeah. That's why I love episode 1. But back here to issue 22 of the X-Men. Where the hell were we? Oh, smarmy, punchable face Doug.
Yes.
So the team, you know, they're kind of not so sure about Doug. Doug jokes that, you know, he's skeptical too. He doesn't want to join with the heir of Charles Xavier.
That was a great line. I actually thought that was really good. Yep.
He points out that both of those big bad bald guys aren't even on the planet anymore, so let's not worry about them.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott calls for a vote, which is an odd choice. Does Scott ever call for a vote of people? He's not a big democracy bottom-up kind of guy, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Did you think that was an odd call for him?
I thought it was, but I think he's still trying to figure out how to make the X-Men into the organization that he feels like it should be. Okay. And I think he's a little upset about, you know, the team being kind of on a bloodthirsty manhunt mission. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think he's like, maybe what we need is a little more, you know, participation in the decisions.
From an out-of-universe point of view, like from Jed McKay's writerly point of view, this makes perfect sense that you want to show that this was not just Scott's singular turns out to be bad decision. It was kind of everybody was basically on board. And almost everyone is on board.
I was just wondering too, like, we know what Revelation's powers are, right?
We do.
Like where he said that he now has the power to essentially make people want what he wants, to share his view.
He has the power to say things that make people do what he says.
Yeah.
Which we know that.
I guess he says we want to join the X-Men, so I guess that's not saying we are going to join the X-Men. So
right.
Yeah, I think this is a fair, honest vote. That's what I was trying to wonder.
I don't think he's using his power here. When we've seen him use that power in the past, it comes forth very clearly in the way the text is written in the word balloons. And here it looks like just regular dialogue. So I think this is just plain old words. And he is good at using words in general because he's Cypher. He's Doug Ramsey. So he doesn't need to turn the power on to be convincing. So we get the vote. Almost everybody votes yes. We have 2 votes to abstain. So Beast votes to abstain. Reasonably enough, he's been rebooted back to his 19 whatever mindset, so he probably doesn't even know who the hell Doug Ramsey is. I didn't check the dates on that, but I think he was probably rebooted.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, is this like pre-New Mutants?
Yeah, didn't look that up. I'm not sure, but even so, there's a bunch of stuff that's happened with Doug since whenever he's been rebooted to. So. Yeah.
Regardless, you could just take this point of like Beast being like the son of Apocalypse. Like I'm assuming he's not like down with Apocalypse, right? Like he didn't
probably not. Yeah, I'm also thinking back to just when I go to vote, and if I haven't done my research on like a local candidate for, you know, board of whatever or a local ballot issue I didn't look up, I'm not just going to vote randomly. I'm just not going to vote for that one, right? I didn't do my homework, so. Beast hasn't done his homework here. He's not going to vote. We have one more abstention, and that is Zorn. Yeah. Zorn hasn't been seen a whole lot in this story. He's always there in the background. He doesn't go out on missions. We know in the Age of Revelation, he's writing a history of what happened. The Zero issue was, I think, largely narrated through Zorn. So him voting to abstain is quite notable, I think.
Yep. He's the
I don't know what it means, but I'm sure it means something.
Yeah. I always like Zorn's character design and just think he's kind of a generally neat character. So I'm looking forward to having him more prominently featured.
Neat guy. So
He's the
Doug,
one that knew that it wasn't right or something.
right. He talks about how how this was the big moment when everything changed. This is when the age revelation was set into motion. And this is that giant pivotal moment. So Doug and family are on the team. He and Cyclops are about to shake hands. And Ruben, we know the handshake's going to happen. We saw it happen in the Zero issue. But moments, like half a second before the palms actually clasp, Scott freaks the freak out, grabs his head. We, as comic book readers, see jagged colors and sparks all around him. Not sure if that's being perceived by the other characters in the scene, if it's diegetic, as the fancy word says. But Cyclops thinks he's under psychic attack. Quentin says it's not a psychic attack, but that it's, quote, it's like his whole brain is out of phase. And when asked, what does that mean? Quentin says, I don't even know what that means, but out of phase. We end on a full-page splash of Cyclops driven to his knees and screaming in agony. Superimposed above him, we see the Age of Apocalypse version of Cyclops seemingly experiencing the same thing. So, Ruben, what's going on here? In the Zero issue, that handshake took place with zero drama, so I guess the timeline is being changed. Tell me your theory.
Yeah, I'm guessing this means that this scene is the second time that this situation happened. So the first time it happened, and then the age goes forward as we predicted, and then we'll see all of that in the next few months. And then there's like a time loop back to the beginning, and then this is like that time loop point.
Something timey-wimey. We know future Cyclops at the end of the Zero issue, he said, quote, if we're going to set things to rights, my younger self is going to need to know what happened.
Yeah. So I take that this is what that is.
This must be that. And that could be, we don't know how Cyclops is doing this, what other mutants he's kind of hooked in to help him with this. I'm not sure if this is communication back in time, if present day Scott is being pulled into the Age of Revelation. Maybe that's why the narrative gets to jump 10 years forward and we don't have to live through those 10 years. Are the two Scotts going to be trading places?
Oh, that'd be weird. Ancient Scott inhabiting the body of younger Scott.
Which I'd think that would be more likely if we had plain old X-Men continue to be published also in parallel with Age of Revelation, but we're not.
Yeah.
So I think more likely it's going to be maybe just present day Scott pulled forward into Age of Revelation.
Yeah. Interesting.
And we'll find out soon enough because Age of Revelation full on starts next week. So by the time folks listen to this, Ruben, you and I may even have a review copy to be reading. So despite the lack of action in this book, and there really is no action scene in this book, there's no fighting, there's not even a danger room pretend fight. The only kind of actiony bit is there at the end with Scott just, freaking out. But CFV's art is top notch and makes the what could have been boring conversation scenes always look fun to look at. So great work there. Always have fantastic artists on this title. Ryan Stegman being the headliner, but when Netho Diaz or now CF fill in, always looks amazing. So Marvel definitely putting a lot of emphasis on getting their top artists and enough time for those top artists to make this book look great. And there's a ton of characters he has to draw here. All of these X-Men, Doug's team, the sheriff and some other folks. Everybody looks great. Lots of emotion, lots of characterization. Even in scenes where there's characters kind of in the background, and Ruben Weave joked about some artists who do the stick figure, 2 dots and a line face when it's not in the foreground face. Everybody here gets a really good amount of detail, even when there are 12, 13, 14 people in a scene. So huge credit to CF on that. And while the issue moved pretty slow, the character work was very effective. Jed McKay knows these characters really well and has them speak in interesting ways. The ending was, if not shocking, then at least intriguing. So, Ruben, I'm going to give X-Men number 22 a 7.8 out of 10. Can't quite go full 8. Had a little too much blah, blah, blah to be full on 8, but still worth picking up. Necessary to read, I'd say, if you're going to get into the Age of Revelation, because you'll want to see the starting point, but not the most amazing issue ever. Still pretty darn good. How about you?
I thought I'd be the positive one here. I'm going to give it a 7, just a solid 7. You have to read it, like you said. It is a little slow. I did like I really like some of the character elements. Jen Starkey is becoming more of an interesting character to me if they're going to start playing off on this, personality being slightly adjusted based on what type of animal she is. I think you could do some cool things with that. And I am kind of interested in the team starting to push back on Scott's leadership. Where is that going to lead? And I like all the character beats. The way that McKay writes these characters is interesting to me. And this is definitely the one book that I feel like I still actively look forward to reading when the issues come out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really get that with other things, but I can't go anywhere near an 8 because I don't feel like this is like the thing you have to read. I mean, I guess you're saying this is like really the 0 issue to the event, or the 1.5 issue to the
I
event.
think if you don't read this issue, you're not going to. I mean, because the whole point is that, as I read it, what happened here is different than what happened in the actual official 0 issue. Mm-hmm. So I think seeing that contrast is, I hope, going to be something important going forward.
Yeah.
And I think I was above I think the story itself is kind of a 7 level. I think the art elevates it. I think CFV takes
the art is killer. Yeah, 100% agree. I love the way he writes, or not writes, but I love the way he draws these characters. It just seems cool.
Not the extreme Dutch angles, but every panel is drawn just a little more interesting than it has to be. And I appreciate that effort and that experience that he gives us. So that's why I bumped it up there.
Great.
Okay, that is all we have to say about X-Men number 2. It is time to move on to our next issue, which is Storm number 12, Legacy number 23, which means that this volume now makes up more than 50% of all the issues of Storm ever written. This issue is called Thunder War Ends, thank goodness. Written by Marewa Ayodele, art by Mario Santoro, and colors by Fer Cifuentes Sujo. Letters are by Travis Lanham. This is, Ruben, the final issue of this volume of Storm before the Age of Revelation event. This is also the final issue of this volume of Storm, period. Now, in the Age of Revelation, Ayodele will be writing 3 issues of a title called Rogue Storm, and then after the event, this story will continue under a new title, Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. Ayodele calls it the second season of the story, like a TV show. Does give Marvel an excuse to put another big old number 1 on the title, which is their favorite thing. In the back, did you happen to read the letters page or the letters from Ayodele there in the back of this issue?
No.
He teases that in the next season, there'll be something called the War Above All, which sounds like Storm fighting Marvel's God above all gods, the one above all himself.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Ruben, will we be covering Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant?
Probably, but I'm gonna be very unhappy.
I don't think we will. I don't think we will. For those of you out there for whom this is your favoritist flavor of ice cream, good for you. Please keep reading. Please enjoy. I'll probably dip in to read once in a while to see what's going on, but I don't think it does a whole lot of good for us to keep talking about this because Ruben and I, this is just not our kind of book.
I like gods too, which is bizarre. I love like cosmic pantheon stuff, but it's just, you need a really clear, straight story when you're dealing with characters that are not clear and straight, and it's just a little too convoluted for my taste.
Yeah, so this issue is hard to talk about, and I got to give even more credit than usual to Paul at the House to Astonish blog. Now, all the words in this podcast are mine. I don't cut and paste anything, but I would not have understood what was going on in this issue nearly as much, to the extent that even I do, without having read all his hard work. So definitely go over to House to Astonish, read Paul's review of this issue. He says a lot of things I'm not even going to get into. So fantastic place, good place to read. This issue can be divided into 3 intertwined segments, which is, our favorite thing to do, to take multiple intertwined stories and rip them apart. We have one segment here following Storm herself. Hey, it is her book. We have one following Eternity and the One Above All. And then there's one more following Dr. Voodoo. So we're going to start with Eternity and the One Above All. So Eternity and Oblivion are fighting. We know this. Oblivion wants his sister Death back, but Eternity is now so big that Oblivion has nowhere to put up a futon for Death to sleep on. So Oblivion wants the One Above All to do away with Eternity completely. So that's the stakes of this fight. It's like a pro wrestling loser leaves town match, but loser leaves existence. 2 abstract entities enter, 1 abstract entity leaves. It's high stakes. Eternity has been inhabiting Storm's body, possessing her off and on. During one of these possessions, Abraxas, the bomb entity, winds up imprisoned in the Storm Sanctuary. At some point after that, Eternity sends that bomb entity out to try to murder Oblivion to death, which does not work. In response, Oblivion frees Hadad, the first storm god, from his imprisonment. So that's why Hadad has been flying around, murdering left and right for several issues now. It's Oblivion's doing, but really Eternity's fault. Oblivion's plan kind of backfires, though, because Hadad kills Oblivion. So Oblivion is dead, which means, I guess, Eternity wins the war? Except that Hadad is still loose and is out to kill both Eternity and Eternity's sister, Infinity. Ruben, is any of that making sense? Because that's a lot of weird words I just said.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me that's what happens, sure.
Again, with the kind assistance of someone I've never met, but
yeah.
I think that is what's happened here.
I looked at that blog and I saw it all written out, and I decided I have no desire to verify the accuracy of that write-up.
I tried to match it up with the issues, and at that blog, what they do is they go through the whole 12-issue series, and because this series has been totally out of order, right? It's been not continuous storytelling, all sorts of flashbacks and flash forwards. And they try to put everything on a timeline, all the important things, most of the important things about the abstract entities.
I also love this idea that Oblivion is dead, but we've seen Oblivion in Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't even know what it means that Oblivion is dead, right? Because if Eternity's dead, that means the universe ends. I don't know what it means that Oblivion is dead. But that's what's happening. And that's why this whole book feels like it's not really happening in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
That we get some confirmation. I mean, we get one page at least of showing that it is happening in the Marvel universe. We see, Haven House in Louisiana reacting to this for one quick panel. We get one quick panel of the Alaskan X-Men playing baseball while this is going on. So they're trying to say, no, this is in the 616, but it doesn't feel like it. Eternity here, he appeals to his father, the one above all, for help. And there's this whole long conversation scene between Eternity and the one above all about who's the better father, who's the better creator. And Ruben, I'm just not comfortable with the one above all being a regular on-panel character. It just doesn't seem right to me. Like, he should be like so high up that even if we're going to talk abstract entities, the one above all should be so much higher above them that just have them have a chat. Like, I'm seeing Highfather or somebody like that in a New Gods book. I get that. But the one above all it's like God. And I just don't like having him be a character. The one above all is sad that his son Oblivion is dead and angry that his two sons Oblivion and Eternity just want to kill each other. So the one above all basically tells Eternity, yeah, Hadad will probably kill you, but you deserve it. I'm not going to step in, right? Eternity wants Dad to fix things. Dad says, you made your own bed. You got to lie in it. Okay, so that's the abstract entity end of things so far. Now let's talk about Storm. It is her book after all. Her name's right there on the cover. Storm is fighting Hadad. Hadad, who is like the original Storm God, who has already killed a bunch of other Storm Gods and other characters. Hadad, who killed Oblivion. Hadad, who years ago almost took over the entire multiverse. Storm isn't charged up with Eternity right now, and yet she's doing pretty well. Right? She's not winning, but she's also not being wiped off the face of existence, which she really should be.
Yeah.
Beta Ray Bill shows up for a few panels. He and a serpent-looking storm god called Shugar, they destroy Hadad's Thunder Spear. And after that, Hadad had a Black Winter with him, but then the Black Winter goes away. I'm not sure if that's connected. I don't understand that bit at all.
I don't even know what the Black Winters are, other than, according to House of Sonish, they're like out of dimensional beings that are
they're
bad.
like Galactus level threats.
But so yeah, not really threatening, right? That's what you're saying.
I don't know why it went away. I don't know if it has to do with Beta Ray Bill or if just they stopped drawing one on panel after that.
His mom called it back. That's what happened.
The street lights are on. You got to go home.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So when Eternity leaves that conversation with the one above all, now his power floods back into Storm. She accepts the power, but she tells Eternity, "You got to behave yourself, buddy. You'd better not try to take over and control me anymore." The quote is, "My body must always belong to me," which I think I've seen on some Volvo bumper stickers around here. Yeah, different topic though. And Eternity agrees. He's okay, I'll go along with that. So the re-eternalized Storm now wins the fight against Hadad. pretty quickly. She doesn't want to kill Hadad, but Eternity wants her to, and so Eternity immediately breaks that promise he just made like 2 pages ago, takes over Storm's body, forces her to murder Hadad to death with like a lightning bolt spear. And before Hadad died, he went all meta, like Deadpool meta, but without the jokes. He says to Storm, "Our lives are but parchments, comical books in their endless libraries.
Mhm.
Our sufferings and tribulations are but mere amusements for them to marvel at."
Yeah, I didn't need
What
any of
a
that.
weird choice here to have Hadad go all meta at the last moment, because he hadn't been doing that before.
Yeah.
Are you as confused by that choice as I am?
Jason, he could see you where you creeped out
Yeesh.
by that. You're the bad person.
And I mean, you can see the one above all as like Marvel writers and editorial, if you want to go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I've seen the one above all just flat out being Jack Kirby, which is kind of fun. That's not how he's drawn here, but that's the main action this volume is completed. Eternity uses Storm to kill Hadad. But there are 2 other scenes bookending this issue. This is the Dr. Voodoo bit, and Dr. Voodoo's been part of the story already. In the opening scene to this issue, Dr. Voodoo is confronted by the God Butcher, the Sentry, and Phyla-Vell. I thought at first that it was Null, the symbiote god, but on further investigation, it's Phyla-Vell, daughter of Mar-Vell, former Captain Marvel herself. But these appear to be zombieized versions of those
Her
characters.
name is Martyr.
Martyr? Is that also her name?
Yeah, that's her superhero name.
Okay, Martyr. And they're all dead, at least last time I checked. Then we go to the closing scene, and we see that these zombies have captured Dr. Voodoo, have taken him to Death, that's capital D Death, Sister of Oblivion, who's kind of tied up with the whole why the brothers are fighting anyway situation.
Mm-hmm.
Death, very annoyed at her brother being killed, and she says that Dr. Voodoo will be her, quote, battle general in the crusade to come in the war above all. So that must be previewing the next season of this book.
Yeah.
And in this last scene, we see several more Marvel zombies, including Zombie Thanos, Zombie Black Bolt, Zombie Thor, and Zombie Spider-Man, who are all zombies of characters who are still alive. So I don't know how this works. I don't know how Death's power and the zombies work, but that's what we see.
Mm-hmm.
And that was story number 22. I'll borrow one last observation from
We also
good old
saw the
Paul.
Marvel zombies in Avengers recently, right?
Yeah, and they have their own Disney Plus thing going on right now, don't they? So I guess it's their
It's the
time to be
month
a
of
thing.
Marvel zombies, yeah.
One last observation from Paul at House to Astonish. Paul points out that in his reading, Storm is not really the protagonist of the volume. Eternity is. Eternity makes all the big calls. He's in charge of the story happening. I mean, it's Storm's body that kills Oblivion, but it's Eternity's choice to make her do that. She doesn't really make any choices here. The one time she tries to assert herself and say, hey, you're not taking me over anymore, she's immediately shown to not have the power to do that. So, very odd call for a book that makes Storm super ultra mega powerful, the most powerful mutant, Earth's mightiest mutant, all that stuff. She doesn't have any volition here. She doesn't have any independence, which is an odd choice. There are some cool ideas in this book. I think if it had been taken place as like an Elseworld story, or even if you imagine it reconceived as an indie book, not using Storm, not using these abstract entities, but some other universes' ideas of these characters, I think it could have been pretty good, especially if it had not been told in such a confoundingly non-linear way that makes it a whole bunch of homework just to know what's going on. I think I would have liked that better. But this is such a hard book to understand. I think a lot of people who like it just cheering on Storm being powerful and their admittedly really cool cosmic artwork. I don't think the story makes a whole lot of sense.
No.
Where are you on this?
No. I don't like it. Overall, I just have not enjoyed it. And I think there's a great deal of reliance on you needing to know all these characters and their relationships, the cosmic characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't really get it. Like, I needed things like the Black Winters explained better. And then there's even lines in this issue about like Storm's lineage from some other god, some elder god that wasn't the same one that Madonna and everyone else is from.
They say all the other storm gods are the offspring of Gaia probably, but Storm is the offspring or a descendant of Oshtur.
Yeah.
And there's a bit about how all the elder gods were created by Eternity back when he was originally feuding with Oblivion.
Yeah.
Very, very high level, kooky stuff.
But just those comments, right? And I'm just like, well, what's the significance of that? It's like, great. Okay, you're not from the same lineage. Does that mean you're more powerful, less powerful?
I think Oshtur's more the magic-y one. So I think that's reaffirming that she's not just a powerful mutant, but she's also
has spellcasting powers.
Spellcasting magic user of a highest caliber.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's getting at. But yeah, it does feel like almost like we only got every other issue of the book.
And the Silver Surfer smoke, I'm like, what happened with that? Why was Galactus on Earth?
Right. I feel like there's other issues we didn't get to read.
Yeah, there's stories and answers, but I don't know.
It makes me wonder if this was the plan from the beginning to do this in 12 issues, or if Iodelli thought he was going to get to this point in more like 18 issues, but was told, no, this is when we're wrapping things up, and this is when you need to have your first season end, maybe. Because all of the other parts of Storm's story back on Earth, right, that one young mutant kid who caused all the problems of the power plant that kicked off issue 1, that's been forgotten about.
Yeah.
So it does feel like there was a rush to the end and not enough time to tell some of the important parts of the story. Well, we've kicked this one around enough. Great art. I really say that Mario Santoro's art here, much more accessible than Iodelli's story. I do miss Lucas Werneck. He is like the best of the best, but if you're going to substitute somebody, Mario Santoro is doing an amazing job. Strong action. The really cool looking cosmic bits, which there's a lot of cosmic stuff here, so I'm glad it looks good. I'm thinking back to last week's Phoenix issue, Ruben, when we also had cosmic characters.
Yeah, the art in this is a lot better for sure.
So much better. It just shows you that how much can be done with these same characters and making them look amazing. So huge credit to Mario Santoro there. Great art, story concept that has some promise, but the manner of telling that just didn't work out for me. So I'm going to give this final issue of Storm, the last one I'll be reviewing. I'm sure we'll talk about the Age of Revelation stuff, but the actual Storm book, this issue number 12 out of 12, I'm going to give a 5.5 out of 10. How about you, Ruben?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. I just was really unhappy reading it.
I can understand that. I think it is a book that if you put in a whole bunch of work, you can get a bit more out of it, but I think the effort to return is not so much there. All right.
I'm kind of tired of these like big stories that have zero impact on anything else in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, how they go out of their way to say, no, this is happening in the here and now of the 616, but it doesn't feel like it in any other book. That one issue of X-Manhunt crossover, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I did laugh at that one scene where it's like some X-Men see Storm and then they're just like, okay, it's Storm shit, she's going to handle it.
Yeah, that was Rogue. Like the whole, right, this big battle with Hadad is taking place on and around Earth. And we have literal red skies happening, just like we're in a DC crisis. And they're having a barbecue picnic, probably crawfish boil there in Louisiana. And Rogue is just like, yeah, don't worry about it. Storm's got this. Okay, Rogue. Yeah. She would not say that in any book not written by Iodelli with Storm on the cover of it.
Yes, yeah. They're just like, get out of here with that nonsense.
But they're trying to tie it in, but it just doesn't feel like it connects. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. That was the last book we were going to talk about today. Next week, we are full on into the Age of Revelation, starting with X-Men Age of Revelation Overture number 1. So next week, that's our one and only Age of Revelation book. Going forward, according to my schedule, is like 4 AOR books every week for the next 3 months, which is going to keep us busy, at least if we decide to cover every issue of every series. So that's the big book next week. We also have, though, Imperial War, Imperial Guardians number 1, which is the last of those Imperial War tie-ins. This is written by Dan Abnett, who's written a ton of stuff, including a bunch of Guardians of the Galaxy, also did that Annihilation story we talk about sometimes, so looking forward to see what he does with the Imperial Guardians, because those are characters I don't know too much about. So I'm hoping Dan Abnett makes me want to know more about them, makes me care about these. Oh, I'm going to get it wrong. Are they Kree or are they Shi'ar? They're Shi'ar, right? The Guardians?
The Guardians.
Imperial Guardians. I think they're Shi'ar.
There she are, correct.
All right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I had
basically
to think
flipped the
through
coin.
that. I was
Yeah.
like, what are we saying? But yes, that
all
is
these
correct.
cosmic groups I'm working on, trying to get them straight. And I wasn't so sure of this until this morning, Ruben, but there will be an Infinity comic apparently next week.
Mhm.
So we'll talk about that. And do you know what else is coming out next week?
Nope.
That
Tell me.
you might be interested in? That there might
Oh.
be a little Ruben's ruminations about, if you care to do it?
Oh, tell me about it. Is it
It's time
New
for New
Avengers?
Avengers number 5.
okay? Good. Yes, I will talk
So-
about that.
Okay, we'll check back in on those. So at least 3 books plus an Infinity comic. And Ruben, while everyone's waiting for the Age of Revelation to truly kick off, what else can our loyal listeners do?
Read more X-Men comics.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X books is their mission, so get ready for the learned edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.